Well, thank you so much, Taryn, for joining me this week. I'm sorry I didn't catch up with you last week, but we have some time today to chat about both episodes. But let's start first with episode 5. Was such a topsy-turvy day for you. You obviously just you just kept getting better as the day went along and just nailed that wedge shot at the end. But it must have been an emotional roller coaster for you. Describe that day for me.
Yes, it was. It was by far the most nerve-wracking day for me. I started the day in the first challenge, missed the green on the first shot, was really upset with myself. That was probably one of the easier shots out there. I couldn't even hit the green. So didn't get off to a good start. And then on the second challenge of the day, I felt like I could get at least 6 or 7, on the green, and kind of sculled my 6th shot over and left myself in a tie with Carling and Ryann, and then just didn't hit a very good chip shot in the playoffs, leaving Carling to win. And then obviously the last, the elimination challenge was definitely just kind of up and down for me. I started off with a whiffed ball, from, I was close to a tree, and my club hit the tree on the way down and completely missed the ball, and ended up taking an 8 on the hole, and just definitely rattled my nerves. Then was able to sit and watch the other players, play, and had to go back and face Ryann, which I knew she was probably one of the best competitors on the show. So to be able to pull that shot off under the pressure was definitely a big relief, and was just glad I made it through.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, how did you do that? You were sitting on the bench watching everything happen. What kind of self-talk were you going through? Do you have any special things you do to get yourself into the zone, to calm yourself down and get back into play?
Yeah, just, try not to think about it too much. I knew that first hole was done. It was over with. Anything can happen. So I knew that I hadn't completely shot myself out of it. I had got 2 chances. I didn't capitalize on my first chance, and I knew it was all or nothing. There was no holding back on that last hole. So, I did the best that I could. So it just happened to turn out my way.
Yeah, it certainly did, and it was a great shot, and everybody was wondering if it was going to be Ryann taken down by 2 eagles, but it was that close. It was, inches from the hole. It was fabulous. Yeah, it was fabulous. Speaking of Ryann, I know she's done really well on the tour. She's won twice already this year, qualified for the Canadian Open. Did you consider her to be the toughest competitor going into this at the beginning of the series?
Yeah, well, I honestly didn't know much about her. I'd heard her name, and didn't really know a lot of the girls. I just knew their names. So, but checking her out the first, however many episodes, the first 4 episodes, she proved that she, had the game, and I definitely thought she was one of the top competitors for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you picked Seema when you got the pink ball. You picked Seema to go against. Obviously, that's because you think, she's the one you were most likely going to beat. She seems to have an awful lucky streak on this series so far. I think a few times people thought she might go home, but she never does.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't want to draw that pink ball. I didn't want to have to be picking who played who. And it was more or less that the reason I picked Seema was because I knew we were more comparable with driving distance. I knew Sarah and Ryann both were long, so obviously they both could reach the green in 2. I thought that was going to be a disadvantage for me, so I thought, well, I'm going to play a player who's going to be more like my game, and we can, face it off with whoever hits the best 3rd shot and makes a putt. And I wanted, to be able to send Ryann or Sarah into that final elimination match, So that's kind of how the reason why I did that. Not necessarily that I thought Seema was a weaker player, just knew that she kind of matched up better for me.
Okay. Yeah, well, you have to pick someone, so whoever...
Exactly, I had to pick somebody. Didn't want to be the one picking, but...
Yeah, I would have wanted to do one of those spin the bottle things and just see who came out. Well, when Lily won the immunity and she got to save someone, she saved Chris. And I was curious what you thought about that, and if you had been in that position, who would you have saved, or would you have sent somebody home at this point?
No, I wasn't surprised that Lily picked Chris. They had just lost Stacy the day before, and she left the room, and she wanted to keep her roommate there, which makes total sense. And they're good friends, so I wasn't surprised by her decision. If I had won, I I don't know at that point. I would probably have saved somebody as well because it's still. So, several competitors left, and you're not. If you send somebody, then it's probably going to come back and bite you if the next week possibly. So, in my opinion, I definitely would have used the save card rather than the send.
I'm curious if we're ever going to see a send. I would have expected to see it by now. I knew at the beginning people were, trying to be nice and don't want to rock any boats, but I keep thinking, the closer we get now, I think we got to see a send one of these days.
Yeah. No.
I never know. I know. Well, you had a wonderful week in the previous episode. SEMA picked you to be safe, so you had a great day. Tell us a little bit about what that was like, how relaxing you had compared to what Stacy was going through.
Yeah, it was awesome. Obviously, we had no idea what any of the challenges were that day, who was in the elimination challenge or anything. We were out on the ocean snorkeling and, relaxed out there. It was a great day. We had a lot of fun. So
I bet you did. So
got lucky.
So you get to sit back last week and watch the show for the first time, not having been there. Did anything surprise you last week or even in this week's show?
Last week, I was definitely surprised that the shot that Stacey hit in elimination. Obviously heard about them when she got back, and she just maybe just the pressure got to her, and I definitely know that's not the player that she is. But anybody can have a bad shot, especially under those conditions and the pressure that she faced. So that just shows that anybody can go home any given day on the big break. So. And then this past week, I was obviously, there played till the final match. So, lots of good golf and, some not so good, but that's just how it goes.
Yeah, well, next week looks exciting. We've got 3 past champions from the big break. At least that's what the TV tells us. And so are you guys going to be going head-to-head with them, or are they just there for show?
I don't know. I'm not sure if I can say what happens. I don't want it.
No, you can't give it too.
Can't really give it away, but they are there. No, it was fun to see them.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. Well, I'm glad this year that the Big Break's bringing along lots of guests. It always sort of spices things up a little bit, and the drama, of course, we're seeing between Sarah and Carling and a little bit of Ryann is also interesting. And you don't really get involved in it. You sort of sit back and kind of stay out of that drama. I'm assuming that's intentional.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, going into the show, I didn't want to be perceived like that. That's what you see is who I really am. I'm definitely the quietest one, and that's just how I am in real life too. I try to stay out of as much, out of the drama as much as possible. It's not really necessary, but that makes for good TV, and if that's what they want to do, personally, it's not for me.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. Well, it's been great to talk to you this week, and I hope that we can pick it up again next week after watching those champions from previous big breaks join you and find out what really happened. And you have a great week, and thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
All right, bye.